Hi, I'm Nate Bowser.
I'm Melissa Defer.
I'm Grayson Jarrett.
And I'm Annalie Woody, and we are going to talk to you about our incredible experience in Kenya studying food security.
During Purdue's 2018 spring break, 11 Honors College students and 3 professors traveled to Kenya to explore the issue of global food security. We visited the capital, Nairobi, along with Eldoret and Kakamega. We had the opportunity to visit 2 livestock research facilities along with an agroforestry research center. Along the way, we visited farms, NGOs, and markets. This was a valuable experience that taught us about the values of Kenyan culture concerning agriculture. To celebrate our studies, we were able to visit an elephant orphanage and a giraffe sanctuary. Our trip taught us so much about the importance of livestock globally, and more specifically in Kenya. Grayson will give us more insight.
Throughout our visits to research centers across Kenya, we heard time and time again how important livestock production is not only in Africa, but also globally. The livestock production sector especially has a significant impact on global economies. On average, animal-sourced foods make up 5 of the top 10 global commodity values. The livestock sector contributes an average of 40% of the agricultural GDP globally. In developing countries, livestock contributions range from 15 to 80% of the agricultural GDP. In fact, there has been a global increase in demand for livestock products due to rising income levels, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. Currently, gains in meat consumption in developing countries are outpacing those of developed countries, with approximately 70% of the world's livestock coming from developing countries. In Africa, the market value of animal-sourced foods is estimated to be at $151 billion by 2050. Across African countries, livestock production value chains provide a significant number of jobs, increasing income levels across Africa. At the research centers we visited, we learned specifically about the importance of livestock production to smallholder farmers in Kenya. In fact, 70% or more of livestock found in Kenya comes from smallholder farmers. Throughout our farm visits, our group was impressed with how much production a smallholder farmer can fit into 1 acre. In addition to the livestock they raise, smallholder farmers raise a variety of crops to support their families. Animal source proteins are also crucial for the diets of children in developing countries. In Africa, 39% of children under 5 suffer from stunting, and 28% are underweight as a result of protein-energy malnutrition. These percentages can be greatly reduced through the introduction of animal source proteins such as milk into a child's diet in early stages of development. As our group has a strong background in animal production in the United States, we were shocked by many of the differences that there were in Kenyan livestock production, especially due to cultural changes. In Kenya, there was a significant gender inequality in the livestock sector, with many of the women doing most of the hard work, but reaping none of the benefits. In fact, the men mostly handled the marketing and the money. Another large difference is that smallholder livestock farmers cannot afford to consume their own animal products. They have to sell everything they can in order to support their families. However, lack of access to formal markets can pose a major challenge. Another challenge farmers in Kenya face is a significant yield gap. There's a large difference in how much the animal could produce versus how much the animals are actually producing due to nutritional deficiencies and other issues. Now, Nate will discuss the research institutes we visited and how they are dealing with these challenges to improve livestock production in Kenya.
We visited 2 research institutions that had a focus on livestock production: the International Livestock Research Institute, ILRI, and the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, or KALRO. Both of these organizations have a focus on livestock production and take a holistic approach to improving livestock production, but have differences that ultimately contribute to different research themes. ILRI is a research center within the CGIAR, a global network of institutions engaged in research to reduce poverty, improve food and nutrition security, and improve natural resources and ecosystem services. ILRI is the only of these 15 research centers with a mandated focus on livestock, with a mission to ensure better lives through livestock. To contribute to the CG's overarching goals, ILRI focuses on several research areas affecting livestock production. These areas include feed and forage resources development, improved livestock genetics, animal and human health, impact at scale, sustainable livestock systems, policy, and capacity building. ILRI is working to close the yield gap between developing and developed countries by improving inputs through crop research, as well as improving livestock genetics with their Live Gene program. They also had facilities dedicated to measuring greenhouse gas emissions, including a unique mobile lab designed to collect more accurate data within Kenya's livestock systems. The Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization was formed in 2013 to research crops and non-ruminant animals to contribute to the improvement of food security. CalRO similarly takes a holistic look at livestock production, including a focus on soil fertility and the production of staple crops, along with improving livestock genetics. One of CalRO's most important achievements is its work improving the genetics of the Kenyan indigenous chickens. This work produced chickens capable of producing over twice the amount of eggs and growing twice as fast as traditional varieties. The importance of capacity building and dissemination of knowledge was also emphasized at all the institutions we visited, and these two are no exception. Capacity building is defined as the process by which individuals and organizations obtain, improve, and retain the skills, knowledge, and resources needed to do their jobs competently or to a greater capacity. In conjunction with the African Union's new Partnership for Africa's Development, ILRI formed the Becket ILRI Hub, a biosciences platform that makes the best lab facilities available to the African scientific community. This partnership helps to facilitate groundbreaking in-country research by providing African scientists with training and lab facilities. These centers also emphasize the importance of extension education to distribute their innovations and facilitate results that funding agencies desire and that will ultimately contribute to food security. Now that we've discussed research, Anna Lee will discuss some of the barriers to improved livestock production in Kenya.
While visiting ILRI and CalRO, we definitely took note of barriers to improvement, specifically focusing on the lack of data in livestock production, specifically with smallholder systems, and the difficulty of obtaining funding. There are many barriers holding back efficient livestock production and research in developing countries as well. Some of these barriers are poor policymaking, scarce feed sources, lack of veterinary services, abuse of land, and lack of a market system. Many of us noticed the size discrepancy between the amount of research on crops and other plant life and livestock. ILRI also pointed this out to us in their opening presentation. Livestock production in developing countries is small scale and widespread. It can be hard to aggregate large amounts of data to understand the unique challenges a small-scale livestock producer faces. Poor infrastructure makes traveling to farmers to collect data difficult as well. Livestock are an important cultural fixture for many people. Livestock serves as a symbol of wealth, can be used as a dowry, and parts of ceremonial rituals. Research cannot be effective or helpful to the people intended if the cultural implications are not fully understood. Researchers face a barrier in understanding all the cultural implications of changing livestock, even in small ways. Livestock has a poor reputation in relation to climate change. Many say emissions and land degradation from livestock contribute to climate change. This is a barrier to funding for ILRI and CalRO. To overcome this, ILRI is currently conducting extensive research to understand how the emissions of livestock on small-scale farms affect climate change overall. Another barrier to overcome is a lack of collaboration channels between research institutions. Currently, the research centers are separated by mandate. However, more collaboration is needed to ensure the research portfolio of institutions is balanced. Lack of funding and competition for funding is a barrier facing all types of research, but specifically research into livestock and animal agriculture has been especially affected. None of these barriers are easy to overcome, and one important thing that could be done to combat many of them is ensuring that research done to help people is well thought out from beginning to the very end. ILRI highlighted this in our meeting with them. They've identified these barriers, and they know that to overcome them, they must ensure that their research is comprehensive and includes plans and outcomes for conception to market of the animal. And now Alyssa will talk about recommendations and wrap up our presentation.
Our group recommends that organizations in Africa continue to seek funding for research. The livestock industry has a need for more extensive research to ensure sustainable incomes and a nutritious diet. ILRI pointed out that funding for livestock research is decreasing. We suggest that passionate individuals and organizations consider funding these research projects. It was also apparent that the livestock in Kenya is not always bred primarily for meat production. While it is their culture to value the looks of their livestock, it would be beneficial to breed the animals to produce more or higher quality meat. Although the livestock research centers should be focused on the outcome, it is essential that they work to improve inputs such as feed and veterinary services. On another note, we talked to the smallholder farmers. They emphasize how much that the extension work has improved their livelihood and skill sets. We recommend that extension agents continue their efforts as well as find more effective ways to connect their resources to the smallholder farmers. They could continue to provide more support to governments to ensure strong policies are written to provide a high-quality extension service.
Thank you for listening to our presentation on livestock production in Kenya. We hope you took away some helpful insights. This trip was life-changing for us, and it has shaped the way we will think about food security forever. Thank you to Dr. Bright, Gary Berniski, and Dr. Ajeda for being great mentors. Your time and thoughtfulness developed to this trip was not overlooked. We all appreciate it so much. Thank you to the Honors College and Purdue University for providing students with transformative opportunities. We hope this will not be our last trip to Africa or Kenya.